Yeah, so this will be the first in a series of videos where I'm trying to locate these 57 data centers that are located in the city of Santa Clara, California. Yeah, anyway, I started to shoot this video a couple of weeks ago. I came down here on a weekday, maybe 4 or 5 p.m., and it was really busy. This is a really busy street here. And even here on a Saturday afternoon, there's quite a bit of traffic, so hopefully it's not too loud. But this is the first of these data center locations. So when I first looked into these data centers here, I had Google Gemini generate a list of 57 data centers. They gave me a nice list with all the addresses and who the operators were, and then I had them generate another list with the square footage, the power, and what year they were built. That was going to be so easy. The problem is those two lists had like different things in them. They both had 57 rows, but they had like different information. And part of the problem is some of these data center operators, they call this a campus, but there's two buildings, and then just down the road a ways there's another campus with actually 6 buildings. So that was one problem, is trying to figure out, is it the number of buildings? Is this 2 data centers? Because here you have 2403 and down there is 2401. And if you go by the sign here, this is a company called Computer Access Technology and Outdoor Corporation. I don't know how you pronounce that. So yeah, if you go by Google Street View, you see this sign and that's who's here. Well, that's not right. Yeah, if you go by Google Maps, this is a Csquare data center, and down there, 2401, is a Digital Realty data center. But let's walk down here and see if there's any better signage down there. Okay, so this is the 2403, which on Google Maps and on the Gemini list that I got, this is a Csquare data center. It's part of their SF01 data center campus, apparently built around 2008. So I don't think they tore this building down and rebuilt it. And you can kind of tell that because it's got all these windows. Like data centers are usually more like this. You know, there's just a big blank wall with just a few windows. So again, not sure what these buildings were before, but this is listed as Csquare, and Google Maps shows this as Digital Realty 2401. But if you go on to the Csquare website, I'll put a link in the video description. This is also part of their SF01 data center campus. Let's see, on the Csquare website, they list a total of about 96,000 square feet between these two buildings and about 34.5 megawatts total. I think they have about 6 generators on one of these buildings, and then there's 5 on the other one. That's their UPS. You know, they have UPS backup, and then they also have diesel generator backup. So I think there's a total of like 11 diesel generators back there for these 2 data centers. But yeah, that was the first confusing part. Out here, there's no signs. I mean, they haven't changed the sign on the street. And you come down here, there's no sign on the front. Okay, this is like the only sign you can find. There's their sign on this little side door, center square. The website is just Csquare. So that one and this one. So the Csquare website is correct. And I could kind of tell these data centers were linked because this loading area, they have like their loading dock in the back, and it's all surrounded by one common fence. So all these data centers are surrounded by these massive steel fences, and there's nothing outside. You would not know what this is, other than just the look of the building. You know, it's very plain. Hardly anybody here. There's looks like 2 vehicles there. You've got one here and a security guard. So this is on a weekend, and this thing is running. You can hear all the HVAC equipment running. It's not a particularly warm or cold day. I'm just out here in a shirt. Again, I'm not sure how these are counted. I don't know if this is 1 data center or 2. I'm going to call it 2 because there's 2 buildings. If you look on the Gemini list, they have this one is Csquare, and they list this building as Digital Realty, so they're counting it as 2 separate data centers. So I guess I'll go with 1 building equals 1 data center. But anyway, that's the first one. And just for context, this building right here, over this hedge, and there's a creek over there, and then on the other side of the creek, that's the main NVidia headquarters. And then right here through these trees, that's what's called the NVidia Voyager building. It's basically a copy of the headquarters building just over there. Let's go down. We'll kind of sneak in here to the bike trail that's down the creek, and then I'll show you where another NVIDIA building is going. Okay, this is the back side of the 2401 data center building, and you can really hear the HVAC equipment running. I don't know if you can hear over the traffic noise, but yeah, there's quite a bit of cooling going on right there. So yeah, they're running probably full blast at this one. And then here is where the new NVIDIA building is going. They just acquired this property here. There used to be a biotech company here. I think they moved out quite a while ago. NVIDIA bought this, and they're putting in their 3rd big building right here. Right over there, that's another data center that's not on any list. And then over here, that building over there is another data center. So we'll go over and look at those really quick. But yeah, just to show you here, this is the NVIDIA Voyager building, and then that's their first headquarters. I don't know what they call that building. It's just listed as NVIDIA. That was the first one they built over here. And then they built this building. It's almost a duplicate. If you look on the satellite view, they're the same outline. There's an expressway out here, and they have a pedestrian bridge across there. Their other buildings are on the other side of that expressway. But anyway, let's go down here. We'll go down the bike lane and then go across this frontage road and go over to these data centers here. This is a different operator, different data center campus. So we'll take a look at that next.